brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Oh, these brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice.
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Paul with Spheric Reptiles, and I wanted to show you this build from this stage. I've already put a lot of the background in there. I think that we've seen enough videos on how to put a background using the Great Stuff foam insulator. You see right there, the main feature of this is the waterfall, and I've taken the PVC tubing. I went to the hardware store with it and bought an attachment for it so that I could put it in. And for the PVC, I use 1/4-inch PVC that I bought off Amazon. You can see also at the bottom, as I open up this cage door, you can see that I've allowed room for water. Since we don't want water just to be sitting on the actual back of the wall, I've allowed for about, in some places, 2 inches or 3 inches. And there you can see the cutout for the foam, and I used the bioactive foam that I purchased from Amazon as well. It was a really cheap build for me because I already had the cage and I had the other stuff. So total, I spent about 50 bucks, including the aquarium ceiling and everything else, the cork bark, things like that, and including the plants and the rocks. So this is the Great Stuff that I use. It's not the ponds and creeks, it's just the traditional Great Stuff. I think it's like $4 or maybe $5 at Lowe's and Home Depot. You can get whatever you like. I chose to order this from Amazon, the black aquarium silicone, because I thought that it would just, any crack showed through after I put the background on there, then it would be black. And I also use that to attach all of the dirt to the back. But, again, we've seen a lot of videos. This video will focus mainly on the waterfall feature. I have this broom that I kind of lightly brushed the background to get some of the loose soil off of, because I want for things to grow on it. So I didn't want to get rid of all of the soil before some mosses and things like that I purchased can take hold. All right, so the main part of this build will be this foundation or this platform, as water will be circulating through the entire bottom. So I use this diffuser egg crate. I made measurements and attached it with zip ties, and you can see the shelf that I made. It's pretty sturdy. I think that it can hold the amount of dirt and plant matter that I'll put on top. I used a wire mesh screen to attach it. It doesn't have to be too cute, but you just want to make sure that any of the edges don't stick through. And you can also see the bioactive foam that I cut, as I want as much filtration or areas where bacteria can grow, like healthy bacteria from the water movement can grow, kind of like an underwater filter in a fish tank, but it won't be that much water motion. So this way the water will stay clean and my water changes won't have to be as significant. To keep the soil from just falling straight through, I'll be using these microfiber towels, and I just got my microfiber towels from, I bought a 30 pack or something like that from the AutoZone or somewhere. And that way I have a ton of them, and I know that the dirt won't go through, but the roots will be able to grow through, because the roots will grow through anything. They're kind of semi-permeable anyway. So this is how the ledge looks, and I think that this is the key. You want to make sure that when you're setting up the design that you don't make it too tall. So speaking of too tall, you'll see here that I actually messed up on, see that edge right on the right side of the screen of the platform? That needed to come off. I mean, when I was making the measurements, I don't know why I just left that hanging over. I think I was getting tired at this point, because at this point, I've been going to work and putting this together. So, but there it is installed. You can see where I cut it, and you can see how it allows for you to have a water view for the waterfall, which is on the left-hand side, to fall down and go through. You see I still have a little bit of room for the soil, and I got a collection area for the water, because I didn't want the water falling directly onto the soil. I wanted to fall to the side of it, and that's why I have the foam underneath and all that other stuff. say other stuff, diffuser egg crate. So these are the clay balls that I'll be using, so that I'm just trying to make sure that I don't have as much anaerobic area. So I want as many areas for healthy bacteria to grow, because this is a bioactive enclosure. We'll have plants, so we'll have isopods and things like that. And I couldn't really figure out a way to put the balls in there. If you know a better way, please leave it in the comments. But I chose to just kind of pour it in there by the cup and then push it in through the back and on the sides and things like that. I think out of all of the process, this was the one that gave me the most difficulty again, and just figuring out how to get this media on there. But eventually I did. I had to come in through the front and through the sides, and you see some of the balls are still sticking out, but that part doesn't matter because of the next steps that I'll do to keep those clay balls in place. For the next step, I'll show you how I did my soil composition, as well as I'll be using this black aquarium sand. It's important for you to soak this stuff in water. I soaked mine for about a week, and I did a water change just to make sure that the water will be clear. I didn't want to be adding, this doesn't make sense, but dust to the environment. But you definitely want to soak it so that you don't have extra particulate matter in there. Bought a 10-pound bag or something. That's like a lot, right? But I bought it from PetSmart, and I think that it's going to look really good in there. Let me know your thoughts on this. I also went by Callaway's, and I bought these river stones, and I think they're man-made, but they are river stones. I rinsed them off really good, and I think that they'll allow my crested gecko a chance to walk along if it wants to drink running water or just to explore its habitat. Lined them in the front to kind of conceal the platform, as well as for a collection area for the waterfall. I know that crested geckos don't live around waterfalls, but they do live in an area that gets a lot of water, so and a lot of rainfall. So with that, I just wanted to make sure that I could provide enough moisture, and this was my trick in putting in the water feature. Here I'm adding in the microfiber cloths. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. I just kind of wanted, you see on the left side how I have it raised. I didn't want a lot of the soil to be able to get through the egg crate. So by placing this up top, then I could do it. My soil composition is reptor soil, cypress mulch, some decayed leaf matter, as well as some purified, just clean dirt. And I keep this because I also grow isopods, so I always try to have this on hand. And to help with further cleaning all of the bioactive waste and things like that, I got some of this lump hardwood charcoal, and I'll be mixing this into the soil. All right, so now I've poured it all inside, and you can see the scope of it from this view. Like you can see the potted plant or the plant pot that I have in the background, and that's where I'll be putting a plant that needs water drainage. And I didn't, because not everything is just water loving in a rainforest. So I wanted to have something that would kind of give a lot of coverage, and so I put that in the back. But I tried to put about maybe 1.5 to 2 inches of soil in there, and I sloped it towards the back so that I could plant the plants that I needed in there, just to give a gradient, even though the entire floor is drainable. So it doesn't matter how much you water it, it'll all drain through with this type of setup. So these are the plants that I selected. I have 2 umbrella plants, which I've already cleaned these and sterilized them. I put them back into some different soil because I didn't know the timeline that I would be using to actually plant these plants. But so I got a fern right there and a pothos. I got a couple of pothos. And so I'm trying to decide on which one to use, but I'm definitely using the 2 umbrella plants. Here you see I have them planted in. I have the 2 umbrella plants closest to the waterfall feature, and then I have the Boston fern in the back in the pot. And I put that up there, and I drilled holes in it so that it could drain water because they can't live in standing water. So I really wanted to make sure that they had enough water flow for the soil, that it's not just sitting there because, to keep the roots from rotting and keep it alive. The last plant to plant is the pothos, as well as these are the other features I have: the ghostwood. I have some magnolia tree leaves that have been treated, as well as some cork bark. I like the magnolia leaves for coverage because they're big. Probably not the best for isopods, but I like them. They seem to do okay. This is how the setup looks when I put everything inside. You see how I have the pothos in the back, the cork bark, a lot of places for the crested gecko to hide, but also a lot of places for it to come forward. And I made sure to go all the way up to the screen because you see over there next to the waterfall feature, it's quite up high, but I know that I'll have to put some of that bioactive foam up there to just make sure that it can't squeeze through there. I placed the cork bark right there so that, because the feeding dish will be on the glass, which is probably not the best place, but that's a place where I can get to clean. And I placed the other pieces of cork bark and things to kind of hide the diffuser egg crate. But another good thing about placing wood in there, or cork bark, and then the river stones, is it allows more texture for the crested gecko, and I think it improves the enrichment because it gets to see a lot of different types of environments. And if any of these things don't work, then I can easily remove them and add something else. So a good mist down, because I just put the plants in there. You definitely want to make sure that you got a waterproof aquarium or enclosure before you do this build. Of course, there's other videos that explain how to make your aquarium waterproof. This one came that way, but I have a fill line on the left-hand side that will allow the water to go along the entire base of this enclosure, and as well as going to the openings of my PVC, so that the water pump that I'll be installing will be able to have enough water to pump it out. So here's the water pump. I got the smallest water pump that I could find on Amazon. I think this cost me like $7 or $8, but you know, I just didn't want it gushing out, and I didn't want something with a variable flow. I just wanted consistency. I'm just attaching the water pump to the aquarium tubing. See how that works. And that's why I pre-fed I drilled a hole through the cork bark and pre-fed the tubing through it and the PVC, so that I wouldn't have to do it at this step. It kind of just planning ahead. So you wanted to make that circle ahead of time, or the hole ahead of time, and both of them and line it up. And that way, the only thing I had left was to install the water pump to the aquarium tubing and stick it inside of the foam that I have in the base. So this water pump is surrounded by foam at the base, because I didn't see a reason for it to rattle around or anything like that. Here, the water feature actually works. You know, this was the first time I actually tested it, which was crazy, but I waited that long. I have these bromeliads, or air plants, that I'll be putting into the enclosure as well. I think they'll add a nice touch, and they'll give some more exercise for the crested gecko. I just really like the way that they shine. Okay, so I used some of the black aquarium sealant on the spout, or the spigot, for the waterfall feature, because I just thought that would be an eyesore to have everything looking so natural, and then you have this eyesore sticking out. So I have some tree fern that I will be placing on top of it. I just grabbed it by the clump and stuck it to the aquarium ceiling. And you see how it hides it, and I just thought that this would look more natural, even though you really don't see spring spotting from cork bark in the wild. But this is the closest thing that I could come up with, that if I had to replace it, then that would be an easy replacement. I also glued down some of the fern in other locations around the cage. You see there on the ghost wood. And since I breed isopods, I started out from my bioactive enclosures, but now I got like 5 different species of isopods. I'll be taking some of these and putting them inside of the enclosure with the magnolia leaves for cover. And these are powder orange and blue isopods. They grow rapidly. That's the only thing I can say, because they really do grow. And now I've added them into it. Well, this is the build, guys. I hope that you enjoy it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm definitely interested in your comments. I built bioactive enclosures before, but I think this one is probably the best one of the 3 that I've built. We'll see how it goes with the waterfall feature, but I'm definitely loving the way that this looks so far. We'll have to see what Jesse thinks. Hey guys, and as always, enjoy the time that you spend with your reptiles and enjoy that time that you have with your family. Thank you.